everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you're just tuning in, my name is Melinda and I am a part-time reseller on Poshmark, Mercari, and eBay. My username on those platforms is Tailored and Teal. I have been reselling for about 2 years now, and I'd like to share my knowledge with you on today's episode of What is eBay Talking About? So in today's video, we are going over men and women's sweaters and also men and women's tops. As always, I will be putting a picture over here to show you an example of what I am talking about so that next time you go to list on eBay and you pull up what is a cape sweater, you'll be able to hopefully remember from this video and put that knowledge into use. All right, so first up, this is under the women's category. Some of these overlap, which I will tell you which ones do. So cape is actually originated from medieval times, according to this source that I used. It is a sleeveless garment which is short, so it's kind of a cropped jacket. Although no sleeves exist, it typically mirrors a short jacket or a coat and has a fastening around the neckline, or it can even have buttons or a zipper or toggles or something down the front. So next is a cardigan, which is under women and men's category. So a cardigan is a knitted garment with some type of fastening down the front. Buttons, toggles, zippers, snaps, hooks, anything that you can open up and close. I like to think of Mr. Rogers or like an elementary school teacher or something that you would wear to church, something business casual even. So next up is a Henley sweater, and this is under both men and women category. So a Henley, just a Henley in general, is a collarless pullover garment that is characterized by a round neckline and an opening of the neckline about 3 to 5 inches and usually has 2 to 5 buttons down it. And it is essentially a collarless polo shirt. It has that look, and it can either be long or short sleeved. So next is a pullover sweater. This, of course, is in both men and women's. A pullover is a knitted item that you literally pull over your head to get into it, hence why it's called a pullover. There will be no buttons, there will be no closures. I like to think of like a grandpa sweater or just a basic vintagey sweater. It can also be used to describe a sweatshirt, so a pullover sweatshirt. Next is a shrug. This is in the women's category only. So it is a short sweater that covers the shoulders, the arms, and the upper back. This is typically something that you would wear if you were covering something else up. So like say if you had a sleeveless dress, you're going to a fancy event, or a tank top and you wanted your shoulders to be covered, kind of modest in a way. I know that they also sell dress sets with these little shrugs too. So most of them are open, but some of them can have closures at the neckline. So next is a tunic. So this is under women's category only. It is a long sweater, usually worn past the hips. For some reason, I always think of like J. Jill. They always have really comfy, cozy tunics. It's very roomy and very comfortable. Next is a vest that is under both women and men's categories. And it's basically a sweater just without the sleeves. It's a great layering piece that can be worn over top of other things like a men's dress shirt or a thermal or something like that. And it can also come as a cardigan with buttons down the front, just sleeveless, obviously. And then the last style in women's sweaters is a wrap sweater. So this can be interpreted many ways, especially when I just typed in what is a wrap sweater. There were a lot of different things that came up. So it can be an open front cardigan where there's enough fabric in the front to literally wrap yourself in, kind of like a blanket. It can also be a sweater that has one corner that comes over and you tie it or button it or something along those lines. Or it can be a sweater that ties on the side, very much like a wrap dress. And as always, if you can't figure out what this particular type of sweater that you have that you're listing, you can always write in your own sweater. So say it's a vest and a cardigan. You can also choose vest and cardigan in those two styles. All right, so now we're gonna be moving on to tops. Under women's category, we have a basic top. So I don't really know what a basic shirt is. I mean, it could be a t-shirt, it could be a plain shirt, it could be something with no frills on it. I guess that's what it is. It's just a plain shirt, maybe one that you wear for comfort or for errands or casual. This one has a lot of wiggle room too. And honestly, I put most of my shirts in the basic category because they don't match the rest of the items on there. All right, so next is a kimono. So kimono is a traditional Japanese garment that is T-shaped, wrapped front, has square sleeves, and is a rectangular shape. However, in modern days, it's very reminiscent of a robe or even an open front cardigan. It can be tied or left open. The sleeves are typically very roomy and still has that square look to them. Next is a cropped shirt. So this is just a shirt that is shorter in length. You have different lengths of cropped. So you can have a shirt that is all the way up to your bust line, which would be a crop top, and that just shows everything. Or it can be a moderately cropped top where it's just above the waistline of your pants, or you can have somewhere in between. Next style in this category is a jersey. So this is a little bit interesting because a jersey just kind of sounds like a sweater or just a basic shirt to me. So this is what the internet says. A jersey is a knitted piece of clothing, generally made of wool or cotton, with sleeves worn as a pullover, will often be used interchangeably as a sweater. The word meaning jersey and sweater. Can also be considered a piece of clothing worn by a sports player or even a sports fan when they're rooting on their favorite team members. So I'm not sure if eBay means like a jersey knit material or an actual jersey, but it's interesting that it's in a women's category because usually you find jerseys in men's categories, but then again, I'm not exactly sure what they mean. Hence, I don't know what eBay's talking about. I'm just doing the research and bringing it your way. Next style is a ringer t-shirt. So this is a shirt which is made of jersey fabric and it's all one color, and then it has trim at the neckline and trim on the cuff area or the end of the sleeves that are a different color. These type of shirts were introduced in the 1950s and they became extremely popular in the 1970s, where if you find a lot of vintage shirts that have the ringer style to it, it could possibly be from the 70s. And then again, a tunic. So you have a tunic top and you have a tunic sweater. So this is literally just the same thing as a tunic sweater. It's just lighter in fabric. So it is a longer top that you wear past your hips. So now we're moving on to men's tops styles. So there is casual button-down shirts, dress shirts, polos, and t-shirts. One note about the button-down versus button-up situation. And I'm going to give you a little history. So in 1869 in England, polo players would run their horses onto the field, but when they did that, the wind would cause their collars to blow up and impair their vision. So they ended up putting 2 buttons on their collars to help it hold down. I found this great quote on a men's clothing website, and it basically says that all button shirts are button up shirts, but not all button up shirts are button down shirts, if that makes sense. So you can have button down shirts that are casual and button up shirts that are dress shirts. So the button down really has nothing to do with whether it's casual or dressy, according to my research. Now, do your own research, of course. Don't take my word for it. These are just things that I pulled from the internet, but this is just the understanding that I have. So a casual button down shirt or button up shirt, I would say, the fabric content is more rugged. These types of materials can be linen, chambray, denim, flannel, items that are more breathable because it's casual so you can move around in them. Next is a dress shirt. So this is a semi-formal or business type of shirt. These have long sleeves. They typically have cuffs and buttons at the bottom. They are typically worn to work or nicer, fancier events like weddings or galas or going to court or something along those lines. Next is a polo shirt. So this is a shirt with a collar, an opening that usually has buttons that can be buttoned open or closed, and sometimes it has a pocket. Polo shirts should be buttoned to the top and are usually short sleeved, and they were originally used by polo players in the 1920s. And then lastly is just a plain t-shirt. So this is a short-sleeved casual top, usually made of cotton, having the shape of a T when spread out. And they can also be in any color. So that's it on our today's episode of What is eBay Talking About? So that's sweaters and tops in both men's and women's category. Again, if you have an item that you don't think matches any of these categories, feel free to write your own in. I do it all of the time. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully you learned something new. If there's anything that you want me to cover in future videos, please let me know. I do plan on going through all of the men and women categories and clothing specifically. But if there's anything else that you wanted to see special, let me know. I will be happy to accommodate. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please consider subscribing. We would love to have you here. And make sure to give this video a like so that I can see that you are liking this kind of content. So as always, I'll see you in the next video.